Hey everybody, Maude here. Thanks for joining us. This week I want to discuss your ball striking, specifically your ball striking related to your irons. How many times do you find yourself in the middle of a fairway having just hit a brilliant drive only to mess that approach shot up? You strike it so poorly that you strike the ground behind the ball and the ball doesn't reach the green, or you don't even strike the ground at all and you blade the ball along the ground with no height whatsoever. It is so frustrating, isn't it? Well, we want to solve that for you. I want to help you get rid of those horrible shots so you can start striking your irons much more consistently. And you're going to need one major fundamental that all great iron players have. I'm going to share with you what that is in this week's training, plus 3 ways on how you can go about achieving it. And I'm going to share with you why don't I have any shoes on right now, okay? You're going to learn all these things in this week's training. Before we do that, if you're new to the channel and this is one of your first videos, consider subscribing. If you press that little subscribe button and the bell, you get to receive videos just like this every single week so I can come and help you improve your game. So, straight out of the bat, what one fundamental do all great ball strikers or iron players have? It's very simple. All great iron players, when they strike their irons, their handle is ahead of the golf ball. Poor ball strikers, their handle is behind the golf ball. Why is it important to have the handle ahead? Let me show you. Watch this. When I put this club onto the golf ball here, I'm going to exaggerate this just for illustration purposes, but if I move the handle way behind, I move the actual contact, the actual iron face, I move it away from the golf ball. So how can we actually strike the face of the ball if the handle's way behind? You can't. So what we do is by putting the face on the ball so now we can strike it, in order to do that, what's happened? The handle's moved ahead. So that's as simple as that. The handle has to be ahead in order for you to strike the face of the ball, face of the club. Question is, how do you go about achieving it? Well, the first exercise is this. A lot of people don't have the handle ahead of the golf ball because it feels weird. They're used to, in a sense, having this feeling of striking the ball with the handle completely level with a golf ball. This is weird for them. So the first thing I want you to do, and goal number 1 is just make some swings by angling the handle forward and then practice swinging in an arc like this, keeping the handle ahead all the time of that club face. At some stage, yes, the head will, in a sense, go past the hands, but not because I've flicked it, but because I'm literally holding it. So you just want, at the first stage, is get used to the feeling of the handle being ahead. Not with any big shots, just head to a driving range, hit a few shots, handle ahead, small little shots like this, just getting the sensation that the handle is ahead of the ball. So hit a few shots like that, nothing fancy, just playing them down the fairway, backwards and forwards. That's all I'm doing. And I would spend a little bit of time here. Most people, whenever I try this, they very quickly get up to here. We don't want any full swings. You just need to get the sensation of the handle being ahead, possibly for the first time. Yes, it's mechanical. Yes, it's exaggerated. You need that initially just to kind of get used to. That's different. It's a different feeling, all right? So handle ahead. So once you've got the feeling of this kind of the sense of the handle being ahead, you've got to move on to step number 2, which is then how do you create it naturally? I don't know if you're aware, but actually all these motions that no one invented the golf swing, okay? Coaches came along after they were great players. So a lot of these things where we're noticing from the good players, they did it naturally. They weren't taught this. So it's a natural motion. The question is, how do you create it? How do you create this natural motion? Well, I want you to imagine something. If this was a whip and I was going to crack it, which is similar to a golf swing, we're going to drag it back here. As I drag it back, there's a whip through. As I do this, I create this motion. Notice my hand. So there's a whip. The hand is where the handle is the head of what? The final bit, which is going to eventually crack. You create that motion. How does that relate to golf and how can you create it? The problem with most golfers is they're way too static. They play golf like this, stuck to the ground, swinging with their hands and their arms like this. With that motion, it's almost impossible to, in a sense, create or get that handle ahead. What we need to remember is the swing starts from the ground up. So in a sense, the energy in this club and what goes on with this head is created by what we do with our feet. So watch this. as I step onto my left side here, and I step back, so I go step onto my left side, my lead side here, and as I push off, my knees move, my hips move, my torso moves, my shoulders, and finally I'm dragging the club backwards here. As I drag it back, it's lagging almost behind, so it's dragging back here, and then watch, as I then plant the foot back down here, my knees move, my hip move, my chest moves, and finally the club comes in. But look, by then, the handle is naturally ahead. It's a very natural motion. Hence I call it the drag and lag. How do you go about achieving it? Well, the first thing to realize is, look, don't hit loads of golf balls initially with this. Just simply spend some time getting used to this step here, drag and lag. Step, drag and lag. Feel, experience the club moving in space. Feel how it's reacting to the forces that you're putting on it. It's just, you don't have to keep your handle ahead then, it will be natural. So stepping, we're dragging, and we're lagging. 1, 2. Once you've got that a few times here, you'll start to see this lovely fluidity, you'll feel natural. Then put a golf ball in play, get yourself set, just hover the club above the ball initially, just get yourself set and just go step onto your lead foot, step back, and then away we go. Now some of you out there might be thinking, wow, if I start moving around like this, I'll probably even miss the golf ball. You may feel like you're moving a lot, but you won't be. You'll still be in balance. This is why I'm in bare feet. What's happening here is this. I'm able to experience my toes gripping into the ground here. As I drag back, my right foot is gripping into the ground. One of the biggest problems I think with golf shoes, they allow you to do this and roll. If you're in bare feet, you're not going to do that. So it's a great way to experience the real motion. You'll start to feel your feet are really working. So let's have a look at this again. I'm stepping. As I drag back, my right foot is gripping with my toes into the ground here. And as I step back in, I get this lagging effect naturally. So again, just do it one at a time. Get the sensation, 1, drag and lag. Simple as that. Feel that motion. In time, you'll start to see how this swing can be really, really natural. Try it in barefoot, you'll start to feel how the feet really, really help you experience this natural swinging motion. Let's have a look at number 3. So drill number 3 involves just stick a head cover in the ground. What we want to try and do is this. By learning to miss the head cover on the way down, it will encourage the handle to stay more ahead. How does it do that? So first of all, I put the head cover probably a couple of feet behind the ball. Well, how does it do that? Well, watch this. If I start to release the club from here, if I start to release the club here and release it too early, I'm going to strike the head cover on the way down comfortably. What I want to be able to do is this. By missing the head cover, I will naturally have to keep this club shorter. It stays shorter because I haven't released, so shorter here, the handle stays that little bit ahead. One thing to watch out for, however, is this. People try and miss the head cover by doing this. Pick it up and chop down. I don't want you to visualize that, okay? What I want you to visualize, I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine an aircraft coming in like this, and then it's coming in to land. It doesn't come in and go, it comes in and it lands. So I want you to land the aircraft once you've missed the head cover. What do I mean by that? And how can you kind of pay attention to it? Ignore the balls to start with. You miss the head cover on the way back, you miss it on the way down, and as you're coming down here, watch this, the handle's still ahead, but I'm landing the airplane. What's happening, I'm grazing the ground. How does that happen? Well, naturally, technically, the shoulder starts to move up, the handle moves up, and I'm landing the plane. If I stayed down here, I just chop in and take a great big chunk out of the ground. That would be pole ball striking too. All great iron players have a very shallow divot after the golf ball. So let's have a look at this in action. We're going to miss the head cover on the way down, on the way back, and on the way down we're going to miss it, but then we're going to land the plane by creating this gliding or skimming effect. Watch this. Back and through. Pretty good. I probably hit down maybe a fraction too much on what I tried to demonstrate there, but the strike was still pretty good. So the margin of error is greater with this. But your job, you can do it on a driving range or try to take almost the minimal divots, to scrape the ground initially. As long as you've got the handle ahead, you will still be a great ball striker. It's a myth that you have to strike good deep divots to get great ball striking. You don't have to do that at all. So we're going to miss the head cover on the way back, on the way down we're going to miss it handle ahead, and then we're going to land the plane by gliding through, not this, the shoulder raises, the handle raises through to land that plane down. Beautiful strike. Okay, so that is it. 3 things. The main fundamental you need to have is get the handle ahead at all times. How do you do that? The very first thing you need to do in summary, you've got to learn the feeling of what it feels like to have the handle ahead. For some of you out there, you probably, I don't know, it's going to feel strange. So feel what it's like. It's going to feel weird. Go with it. Hit some balls just on the range, small little shots. Be aware that you do not want to be kind of, in a sense, stood here like this, hitting big, long shots. The small shots, handle ahead, get the feeling first of that sensation. Once you've done that, then move on to the barefooted. When I say barefoot, because I like to kind of feel the feet working in the ground. The feet lead the lag, just as if you're kind of, in a sense, whipping this motion here. There's a drag and there's a lag. It creates the whipping effect. How do you create it? Well, you don't do this with your hands, with your torso, you do it with the feet. So you want to, in a sense, step onto your lead foot, you step back here, and as you're doing that, you're dragging the club back here, and as you step back down, look, you naturally drag it through, the handle leads, and then you create this flowing motion. Is it easy to strike straight away? Not really, but you'll certainly see, you'll feel more rhythm, you'll feel the natural motion, and in time you'll start to get this natural lag, and the handle will naturally start to stay ahead. So it's stepping here, step back, and away we go. And then the third and final one was simply put a head cover 2 feet behind the ball, miss it on the way back, miss it on the way through, and when you come through, land the plane. Land it by allowing the left shoulder and the handle to work upwards. You do those 3 things, or try one at a time, you will start to see a massive improvement in your ball striking. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you know somebody who's struggling with their ball striking, please share this. This could really, really help. And of course, if you're new to the channel and this was one of your first videos, come next week and subscribe, and I'll get some content over you so I can come and help you improve your game. But until next week, everybody, have a great golfing week.